Yo, so a brand new week means a brand new weekly update, and with that, we've got some new ways to make some money this week. So in this video, we're going to be going over the best ways to make money this week in GTA Online. Starting off, we have the standard time trial. This week, you can find it located over at the sawmill up in the top part of the map. Now, I love this money method, especially for beginners, because all you need for it is a motorcycle. The one that I always recommend is the Batty 801, as you can find it on Southern San Andreas for only $15,000. Trust me, don't let that low price fool you, because this is among one of the best motorcycles and probably even vehicles within all of GTA 5 Online. Okay, now getting back to the standard time trial. Once you arrive to the purple time trial area, you just want to drive on up to it and press right on your D-pad to start it up. After doing that, immediately open up your map and look for this yellow destination right here. Just set a waypoint on it and close out your map. Then just bring up your phone and quit the job. Now, what I always recommend doing is going forward, then backing up into the edge of the time trial as much as you can. What this does is give you kind of a head start when you do the time trial, so you basically get this little second of a boost. Then once again, just press start on your D-pad to begin the standard time trial. Now, for this one in particular, just go ahead and follow what I'm doing on screen, but you're going to want to come on over to this tunnel right over here. Then simply just drive through it for a bit. Now, something I'm also going to recommend doing is hitting a wheelie as often as you can, especially through this tunnel since it's mainly just a big straightaway. If you don't know how to wheelie, just lean the right stick down while you're accelerating. What this does is make your bike go even faster than it normally does, so yeah, definitely going to want to do that, you guys. Anyway, once you get to this part of the time trial right here, go ahead and get off of the train tracks and just follow the waypoint the rest of the way to the destination. I managed to beat this time trial with just a couple of seconds to spare, and I made $102,000 upon completion. If you guys completed the time trial and only made a couple $1,000s, that means you didn't beat the part time. And in order to get the full payout, you'll have to beat it within the part time, so just make sure that you don't crash and try to wheelie as much as you can. For our second money method this week, we have 50% more money for doing Project Overthrow missions. Now, if you have no idea what these are the new story mode missions that dropped as a part of last week's DLC. Basically, you're going to need to own an Avenger and also get the operations terminal upgrade with it. Now, once you own all of that, you're going to want to walk into the back of your Avenger. Once you're inside, just walk over until you see the operations terminal right here. Then just register as a boss, and you're going to want to click on the left tab, which are the Project Overthrow missions. There are 6 of these missions in total, and if you haven't already done them since they came out last week, I feel that now is probably the best time to do so, because again, they're paying out 50% more than they normally do. Now, these missions are alright, like they're personally not my favorite. If you happen to be really into like the whole aircraft scene, then maybe you'll absolutely love them, but yeah, for me, they're just whatever. For the most part, they aren't super easy, but they're also not extremely difficult, pretty much just in between, honestly. However, the only mission that was just straight out awful was the third one, which is on parade. Guys, when it comes to this mission right here, holy shit, I struggled with it for at least an hour last week. And back then, I probably would have thrown my controller and turned off the PS5. But since I'm a content creator now, I had to calm my fat ass down and learn a couple of things. So if you're also struggling with this mission, let me give you guys some tips real quick. Where I started to struggle was when all of the Meriwether agents started pulling up. For the helicopters, just go into VTOL mode and take them out. They're pretty simple. As for the jets, you just want to make sure you're behind them when locking onto them, or else you're more than likely going to miss the shot. But yeah, just make sure you shoot them a couple times each. They take a little while to completely go down, so just keep that in mind. But now, for the Avengers, this is where shit gets a little confusing. So what I did was fly through the windmills and have them follow me. 9 times out of 10, they'd get stuck in there, and that's when I'd go in and shoot as many missiles as I could before they got out and started shooting at me again. I also just flew straight back to Fort Zancudo. While one of the Avengers stayed stuck over at the windmills, another one tried to follow me but ended up crashing or something because they disappeared off the map. But for that last one that was still around, I just kept flying through the windmills, shooting them while they were stuck, and then repeating the same thing once they got free until they were finally done with. Anyway, for completing all 6 of the Project Overthrow missions, you're gonna make well over $100,000. But the real cherry on top is that when you complete these missions for the very first time, you're gonna be rewarded an extra $250,000. Coming over to our third money method this week, we have the HSW Time Trial. This, of course, is gonna require an HSW upgraded vehicle. And if you've seen any of my recent videos, you already know I'm going with the HSW upgraded Hikuchi drag. Now, most of the HSW vehicles will do just fine for this time trial since they're all hella fast. I just personally feel way more comfortable with the motorcycle when I'm doing time trials. And since there's currently only one HSW motorcycle, the Hikuchi drag it is for me. Now, unfortunately, this time trial is only available to next-gen players. So if you're playing on an Xbox Series X or S or a PS5, then this will be available to you every week to complete. But if you're playing on an Xbox One, PS4, or PC, then unfortunately, these will not be available for you. Anyway, this week's HSW time trial is located over in the parking lot of the Del Perro Beach. And we're gonna set this one up just like how we set up the standard time trial from earlier. Once you get to the purple time trial area, go ahead and press right on your D-pad to start it up. Immediately after doing that, open up your map and set a waypoint on this yellow destination over here. Then back out of your map and quit the job from your phone. Now you just want to go forward a bit and back up little by little until you can finally start up the time trial. And just like that, start it up. Now, just like with pretty much every other HSW time trial, this one's pretty easy to do. I mean, I managed to do it on my very first try this time, so yeah, pretty simple. You just want to follow the purple waypoint path on your minimap and you should beat it in no time. Now, if you chose to use the Hikuchi drag just like your boy, then one thing I'm going to tell you is to watch out for NPC cars. It's really easy to crash, especially if this is your first time doing this particular time trial, so just be careful. Again, this time trial isn't difficult to complete like I said, but it's not as generous with the part-time as other HSW time trials are. What I mean by this is that if you crash more than once or get stuck in a certain spot for a little too long, you're more than likely not gonna beat the part-time, so yeah. Anyway, once I made it to the finish line of this HSW time trial, I made a whopping $251,000 in just a minute and 8 seconds, which is some crazy good money for that amount of time, so definitely do your HSW time trial this week, guys. For our fourth and final money method this week, we have triple money on community series jobs. Now, there are two ways that you can start these jobs up. The first way is by coming over to this location on your map and walking into the community series area, and then the second way is by pressing start, going online, jobs, play job, and selecting community jobs. Once you're here, you can just scroll through all of the different categories and select any of the ones that have the 3 times money and RP tick on them. Now, some of you might not know what community series jobs are, and what these are jobs created by other players rather than Rockstar themselves. Every week, Rockstar picks a few out of the thousands out there and features them right here. And the people that work on these get pretty creative because most of them are really fun to play. If you guys have ever been on Instagram Reels or TikTok and come across a video with some random GTA race footage on it, it was more than likely one of these jobs right here. So it's pretty nice that Rockstar gives recognition to these creators because I'm sure they put a lot of time into making sure that people are still having fun in this 10-year-old game. Anyway, the first one I did was this huge race called the Grand National Rally. Tell me how we started with 12 players and by the end of the race there were only 5, like bruh. But anyway, I ended up getting first place, and for doing so I made close to $47,000, which wasn't bad for a race that took me less than 10 minutes to complete. And then the second one I did was a death run called Bike versus Plane. This instantly took me back to that whole 2015-2016 era, like it just gave off that vibe completely. But anyway, for this one you've got 2 teams, the pilots and then the bikers. The bikers are trying to get to the end of this huge racetrack sort of thing where there's a whole bunch of weapons at the end of it, and then the pilots are trying to put a stop to that by taking out the bikers, because if those bikers make it to the end, it's pretty much a dub for them. Now, I was absolute ass at this mode, so we ended up losing, but my team made $31,000 and then the winning team made $44,000. This obviously isn't going to beat Cayo Perico level money, but hey, if you're looking for a break from the usual grind, then I'd highly recommend checking these out, especially with some friends. Now, even though this is no longer a weekly money method anymore, I wanted to quickly go over the changes for the RC Bandito time trial. Before the new DLC, you would do this once a week just like with the other 2 time trials and make about $100,000. But now after the new DLC, it's completely different. Whenever you do the RC Bandito time trial now, you'll make right around $75,000, which might sound like a downgrade at first, but now you can do these daily as opposed to weekly. So if you were to do the RC Bandito time trial every single day, you would make right around $525,000 a week, as opposed to the original $100,000 payout. This technically makes the RC Bandito time trial even better than both the standard time trial and the HSW time trial. So if you don't own an RC Bandito yet, now is definitely the time to invest in one. Now, real quick, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for 10,000 subscribers. It really does mean a lot, man. Like, I really appreciate you guys checking out the content. I started this back in October of last year, and it's just insane to see how far we've come in less than a year. So thank you guys, seriously, much love. Anyway, like I said, these money methods aren't a replacement for Cayo Perico. I highly recommend having some passive businesses, so while you're grinding these money methods out, you could be accumulating even more money in the background. The one that I'd recommend is the nightclub. Like, it is insane how good this business is. If you want to learn all about making hella money with it, you're gonna want to click on the video on screen right now.